for me, in terms of the negatives, right, there is a vast development of infrastructure. So we are clearing part of lands that should be used for farming. Day in, day out, farmers are losing their land to real estate. And that means that if real estate is coming in, how are we going to eat in the next 50, 100 years to come? Now, you'd also realize the advent of climate change happening.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Adrian Daniels. Welcome to the Sound of Accra podcast. If this is your first time listening, this is a show where we speak with top Ghanaian founders, entrepreneurs, and creators worldwide with the aim of leaving you behind with meaningful takeaways that you can apply in your life, business, and career. For today's show notes, I'd like you to head over to thesoundofaccra.com/agritech. That's thesoundofaccra.com/agritech for all of today's show notes, key wisdom notes, references, and links from today's episode. All right. Just some housekeeping. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button whilst you're here. Hit the like button and leave a comment. Let us know what you think of today's conversation. It's been a very, very insightful conversation. Just talking to some disruptors in the agriculture space and the food space as well. And if you're listening on the podcast platforms, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a review. A 5-star review is very much appreciated. You can even hit us up on info@thesoundofaccra.com for any kind of feedback that you have for us. Okay, cool. So we're going to move on to today's episode. As you can see here, I'm not joined by one, but by two guests today. So I have Nana Kofi, who is the co-founder, or founder actually, of Merdeo Foods. And I'm also joined by Gideon, who's the founder of the Honey Palace.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show, guys. Really appreciate it. So I don't know where we kick this off because we got two in the hot seat rather than one. But I'll probably just kick off in a traditional way. So I'll just like both of you just to share with the audience. Actually, before we do it, I'll just kind of share with you guys what they do, because I think what these two guys do are brilliant. We met at the Ghana ecosystem.
Right.
Startup Mixer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think maybe a couple of weeks ago or so. And yeah, these guys are doing some very interesting things in their space. Of course, you can see a massive B on Gideon's t-shirt on his cap. Of course, he produces honey. We're going to tell you a bit more about what he does. And of course, we've got Nana Kofi over here. He's doing some very interesting space in hospitality and the farming agriculture space. We're going to tell you more about what he does as well. But yeah, guys, welcome. Thank you for coming on. How did you find the event? Because we met at the both of you met at the Ghana Mixer startup event. How did you guys find the event?
Gideon.
It was great. Honestly, it was amazing. And I think the good thing was the fact that I met a lot of familiar faces, so it made it quite easier for me. And so it was a great start for the year. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I really loved the chops. Like it was amazing. Their meals were delighting, and more so, you could, just like Gideon said, you could meet amazing other entrepreneurs doing something similar what you're doing, or see how best you guys can collaborate. So it was something for us. We're looking forward to that, and it was a great start.
Brilliant. I'm actually, yeah, I was blown away by the event, but I wasn't blown away by the fact that they didn't give me any chop. They just gave me water, but didn't get to the food. I saw food going around, and I'm like, I saw food going around again and again. I'm like, what about me? I think even Alex from Menu Finder was
yeah.
And he's got a food company. I kid you not, I think he used his own app to get food, because as I was leaving, I saw him eating a hamburger. So I don't know what you did. Ghana Digital Center, I don't know what you guys did, but you didn't give me food. I'm not happy about that. I had to go home hungry. But anyway, it was still worth coming along to the event to meet at least these two. So it was an event that was done pretty well. But yeah, that was a really nice, intimate event. And of course, I met both of you there and some others as well. Shout out to Alex and Many Fine Africa, who was also at the event. Akua Nyami Mentor from season 5, bumped into her over there. And Emmanuel Gamo, I missed him. Apparently when I left, he came. He's from season 1. I missed him. But yeah, these are all great people. So let's get straight into it. So give the audience a quick 60-second pitch about what you guys both do. I want to put you guys in the spotlight today as some of Ghana's tops agriculture tech startups.
Okay, so hi everyone. just like Adrian said, I'm Nana Kofi Sapon. I'm the founder of Merdeo Foods, and we are building a procurement platform that leverages technology to link local farmers directly with urban vendors and restaurants, so we can provide them with quality fresh produce at their doorstep. But more importantly, we are using technology to provide cloud data solutions such as data analytics, inventory management software, so that these restaurants can be more empowered to do their business well, and we do all their procurement for them.
Brilliant. Next, Gideon.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm Gideon Awelana-Bulase. I work with the Honey Palace as the team lead. At the Honey Palace, we are the leading honey brand that we can talk about in Ghana here. And we currently work with 250 beekeepers across the Northern Territory and also the Beehive region. And we currently have about 7 different type of honeys that we are having at our production house. So we work to protect the environment, number 1, restore the nature, number 2, combat climate crisis, number 3, and reduce rural poverty, number 4, and serve families with Ghana delicious honey. So that's basically what we do at the Honey Palace.
That's the part I'm interested in, the delicious honey, isn't it? Yeah. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. I'm joking. But yeah, wow, 7 different types of honey. Right. We're going to talk about that, in just a moment. And, what for all of the beehive, thousands of beehives, crazy stuff. Reminds me of the My Girl movie back in the day when Macaulay Culkin or whatever got stung by the bees. But anyway, let's continue. So I want to kind of put the spotlight quickly on you, Nana Kofi, because actually, you guys are good both. Actually, one thing I want to mention about this episode is that both of these guys actually also happen to be good friends. Would you share how you guys know each other? Is it appropriate? Is it appropriate?
So what happened was we both applied for what we call the PK Being Scholarship Program. Mm-hmm. And of course, anyone who's a Ghanaian and is abreast with business knows that PK was an astute business and is still an astute businessman who founded a UT Trust Bank and many other holdings under his company. For that matter, he wanted to start something so that he can mentor young people to become like him and of course to make more impact. Mm-hmm. So we went through the process and then luckily we were both selected as a top 20 candidate out of over 1,500 candidates. It was really competitive. And fast forward, we went to this military program. And guess what? He sees me and who is this guy? And I'm so scared. I was so scared at the military camp, and he was just giving me morale. And so we happened to be under the same camp tent because they were grouped into tents and we were to sleep in a jungle. And that's where
sleep in the jungle.
Yeah.
What?
We had to sleep in a jungle. Yeah.
In Ghana here.
In Ghana here.
Sure.
And since then we became very good friends.
Oh wow, what a story. Remarkable story. Speaking of remarkable stories, I'm gonna come back to you, right? How did this whole business start? Because I know it's a beautiful story. Would you like to share with the audience?
Well, it's kind of it's a long story, but very equally interesting.
Yeah.
So
you can maybe make it kind of short.
Yeah, short, yeah, that's right. But it started somewhere 2017, right? And it got incorporated in 2018, right, under a different name, and it has gone through a transitions of names into now becoming the Honey Palace that everyone knows about.
Yeah.
But it started with me meeting one of my cousins at Achimota. The mall, Achimota Mall at Atomic was the name that down there. And we met, and she was going to propose for me, actually.
Hey.
So I met to go with her to the market, dummy market, to buy ingredients for her to go do that. And when I met her, she was holding some bottles of honey. I was like, wow, what's this? And she said, it's honey. I said, okay, fine. So this honey, how much do you sell? And she said 20 cedis per one. And I was like, okay, fine. Jokingly, okay, if I sell them, how much will you give me? And she said, I'll give you 5 cedis per one. So I said, whoa, that's okay. So I took them and I sold them before we would even get to market. If you know this distance between the Achimota Mall and the dummy market, you realize that there's not really much distance. And I remember I sold the first 5 bottles at the taxi station just around that place. And then when you move forward small, there's a washing bay on the left, and I sold the other 5, and even had a pre-orders.
Wow.
from that place.
That's the gift of
You know,
selling.
So
I'm gonna have to talk.
so like from there I told her, anytime once you have honey, call me, I'll sell it for you. And so to speak, like I enjoy sales. Sales is something that that's what I do, and I love it. Right. So from there, I think along the line she stopped actually herself.
Oh no.
So I was like, wow, this is something that I need to. And I've always been thinking about what I can do for the North. I mean, because from where I come from, I've always been thinking, okay, what can I do to bring some sort of a revolution, and an economic revolution?
Where are you
for that
from in
matter.
Where are you from in the North?
The North, yeah, Upper East region,
Upper East
Brongo.
region. Mhm.
So when I saw the honey, so a thought came to me that, okay, fine, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can use to empower people. So I then send message across to my communities. If you can harvest honey, I'll sell it for you and you make money.
Mhm.
So basically, that's how the honey space, the honey happily started from there. It was then King Gideon honey. Then it's migrated to Giwalan honey, Giwalan special honey, you know, and then eventually it became the Honey Palace in 2022.
Wow.
And we launched our first showroom at Domi Plateau. In fact,
Mm.
the first honey showroom in West Africa, so
Wow.
to speak, you know.
Is it still there? Do you still have a showroom? Honey
Yes,
showroom?
at Domi Plateau. And now, last year, 2023, November, we just opened our new production house, the honey production house, the only honey production house, actually, as we speak, in a way, at Adenta Frafraha. That's
Wow.
where we are. So, and we are looking forward to the future. We don't know what holds, but we know it certainly holds
Greater
something
things.
greater, you know.
Amen. By
Yeah.
God's grace,
So
it's going to be
thank you.
great.
I hope I was softer though, but
No,
that's basically about the honey.
that's an incredible story. It really is. And we were talking about this off air, that you have a great story, and I'm glad that you kind of shared that with the audience. I'm sure the audience can be inspired by that. And you've got a great story as well, don't you, Nana Kofi, in terms of how you got into Merdeo Foods. So I know that the 1 year national service is something that, you know, everyone in Ghana has to do.
Mm.
And some people may kind of like run away from it. Some people may kind of like be intimidated by it. But I like your attitude, because with the 1 year national service, you look at it in a perspective of entrepreneurial opportunity. So to talk us through your 1 year, I believe you did it with ZPay, and you looked at it as opportunity rather than, you know, like something that will set you back.
Yeah, Adrian, right on that. So when I was going for my national service, prior to being a national service, I was a student prodder. So it's a Gen Z term that signifies someone who is a student, but at the same time trying to do some entrepreneurial ventures.
Yeah.
And so I started a restaurant business back on campus. It was called Obama Beans. And what it was trying to
Obama. The president.
Yeah. I mean, that, I think during those times, I think that's when President Obama was still popular, you know, being the first Black American president. So we said, okay, why don't we name the restaurant after him?
Oh wow!
And
probably didn't even know.
Yeah. And what happened was we started to sell what we call gobe, plantain and beans. But what we wanted to do different was to add some salad, onions, because at that time it wasn't popular. So salad, onions, and stuff like that. And 2 years after, it had to collapse because we were facing some struggles, which currently Merdeo is trying to solve. You want me to mention the problems we faced?
Of course, yeah.
So one problem we were facing was that unreliability of pricing. So you go to the market today, the plantain you would want to get is maybe 25 Ghana cedis. You have in your pocket 20 Ghana cedis. What do? It was very frustrating. Sometimes you have to come back to the restaurant and tell our customers that, oh, and then they go back as soon. To wait, it's the beans and plantain is finished. So I then told myself that I'm really going to focus in getting a place that would more or less inculcate in me the entrepreneurial mindset. And so I started to lobby among my friends and then try to ask if I can get any opportunity. And lo and behold, there was one guy called Alex, wherever he is, peace, a shout out to him, because he gave me the opportunity to apply for the ZPay. And so I went in, I met Andrew Techi. He has been a wonderful mentor to me. I mean, I went to him and he said, he asked me why I really want to come here. And I told him, I really want to be an entrepreneur. And I've learned a lot about what he does at ZPay.
He's the founder, right?
He's the founder. And he was like, Charlie, boho. He was just trying to make some jokes. And we ended up being very good friends. And I must say it was Andrew who gave me the opportunity to have my 1 year national service at ZPay.
Shout out to Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet, but I'm sure that will happen eventually. Yeah, because ZPay is doing really well.
Yeah, really, really well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think both of you, I mean, what you have in common is great stories in terms of how you got to where you got to. And they were both, I mean, I think for you, Gideon, it wasn't so much a problem solved. It was more about a passion that you had. And now you have a purpose behind what you're doing. And with you, Nano Coffee, it was more about a problem that you wanted to solve. And now it's, a fully fledged business that you've got great going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So talk about what Merdeo Foods does as a present day. So of course you've solved this problem now in terms of like the stock issue and stuff. Tell us what Merdeo Foods does.
Yes, so we currently have our warehouse at Adenta. It's funny enough, yes. So that's how come we're still we're good friends, because his warehouse is at Fafaha and mine is at Oyarifa. And so we have this warehouse where now we are trying to inculcate the use of wind turbine, because that's what will really make us stand out in the market. So we want to put in a wind turbine to more or less preserve the produce that we get from farmers for as long as maybe 30 days. So that's currently in the pipeline. That's what we're doing currently. And also we are going to put on our platform the addition of other suppliers, because we believe we cannot do this all by ourselves. We need to collaborate with other suppliers, other distributors in the agricultural supply chain, so they get onto our platform so that they can also be able to sell to our network of restaurants. So that's also something we are doing in the pipeline. Currently we are serving to about 20 restaurants, including the Gold Coast restaurant, Ada King's restaurant, Chop Shop, Eric Shop, and then looking at the other smaller Indomie sellers too. We also look at them, and then these smaller companies, I'll call them food vendors, so Auntie Lizzie, something like that. So that's what we're currently doing.
Okay, so you want to solve like just the whole kind of stock hospitality kind of issue of
yes. So we are
out.
Yes, so we are trying to ensure that restaurants and food vendors don't need to go through the struggle of going to the market to haggle over prices of food, and then also to have some sort of ownership on predictability, because now on our platform you can be able to determine that this price is what we are going to sell to you. You don't need to go. Remember I told you the story that I usually go to the market and I have maybe 20 cedis on me and I'm short of 5 cedis. This time around is all on the platform. We can just give us a call and we'll tell you the price right on time. So if you know you have the money, we then supply it to you. There's a kind of issue we're tackling.
Brilliant. Yeah, it is a common issue, because I know people that have to go to the market to purchase goods, and pricing, negotiation, and your stock issues. It's a headache. So it's a real headache that you're solving. What you mean is brilliant.
And also to add to that, our platform is quite unique, because we realize that many of these small and medium-sized restaurants, whenever they need a POS system in Ghana, it costs usually between 3,000 to 50,000 Ghana cedis, and you normally have to pay it upfront because the developer is taking his cut, etc., maintenance. And for that matter, we are saying that, look, you come use our platform at a fraction of a cost for, say, 250 to 300 Ghana cedis. You have access to our platform, our digital POS system. You would have access to our inventory management system, etc., to empower your business efficiently. And you won't pay way out paying.
The food revolutionist, huh?
Yeah.
Amazing. And you and your team developed it, right?
Yes.
So talk us through our team. Talk us through your team, please.
So my team is a very small team. Myself, I'm more or less the team lead, marketing, and being the strategist. Then I have my tech lead, Jeremiah J, who helps with the tech development. And of course, I have one lady who is a friend. She is Jennifer Mensah, helping me with the financials and accounting. And I have a driver, because we have to normally go to the farms to directly deliver to our restaurants. And then one other friend called Emmanuel, who helps from time to time. So, when in terms of employment, about 3 full-time staff, the 2 are more or less like helping from time to time.
Brilliant. Also, that's all kind of nice. And that's the beauty of like being in the kind of agri-tech or food tech business, is that everything can be quite agile and you don't necessarily need loads of people. Whereas with Gideon, I think of what you're doing, there's more hands-on. So you need like a big team. So talk us through like the team that you kind of have. Like, is there a big team? Is it a small team?
I would say compared to what the team we're going to have, there's actually quite a small team that we have right now. So there are 12 permanent staff that we have. and we have
12, yeah?
Yes, please.
Wow.
And now we have 45 part-time workers who are spread across the universities. So we have what we call campus ambassadors.
Beautiful.
Partner with the universities for their students to, distribute the honey across.
That's amazing. So to kind of do how you started, you want other people to kind of do the same thing.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Right, exactly. So that's what we're doing. So we have the finance team, we have the growth officers, we have the marketing team, the production team. Yeah. But we are currently recruiting almost about 8 people from the Northern Territory. We are going to start with a product activation in Tamale. They'll move to Damango. And then that's with the honey sachet that we've introduced to the market right now.
Okay, so now you're making different types of honey, right?
That's correct.
That's when you're talking about 7 types of honey.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay, could you talk us through the 7 types of honey that you got?
Yes. So we have, there are 2 main types of honeys. Number 1 is the Monoflora, and number 2 is the Monoflora. The Monoflora.
The same thing.
Okay, so
Multiflora and
the
monoflora.
Monoflora is the one that the bees actually feed from different sources of trees. They forage on different tree flowers, different kind of trees. But then the Monoflora is where the bees focus on one particular single tree source, or so to speak, 80% of the flower or the nectar that's used is from a particular single tree. Now, a single tree doesn't mean that one particular ascent, but it means one type of tree, let's say mango. So for instance, right now we have the Monoflora honey. We also have mango honey, which is under the Monofloral honey. We have cashew honey, we have neem honey, we have baobab honey, moringa honey, and acacia honey.
It's making me hungry.
Right. And these honeys, when you taste them without someone telling you, you will know that no, this should actually be from this because of the flavor it gives you. You realize that no, when you take it, like the mango honey, you realize like you would actually feel that mango-like flavor. Yeah. Like when you're taking it. The same with the cashew, the same with the moringa and all of that. Yeah. So that's what we are doing right now in the way. And latest by June, we're going to have our shea tree honey. Yeah. Because we are starting up a project of about 1,000 acres of land that we're going to develop into only shea trees. And that is going to be like also partnered with beekeeping. Wow. That is so along the shea trees, then also beekeeping, we set up the beehives all across.
Wow.
Right.
So that's amazing. So you have a network of beehives going across the country.
Yes.
Crazy. I want to talk about some of the challenges that you guys may run into. So I mean, what you've set up, Nana, is a supply chain, problem.
Business, yeah.
The business that you've set up is solving the supply chain problem, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I want to discuss is that with what you're doing, do you see other problems in the industry where you're trying to solve for any supply chain issues in terms of agriculture, food, hospitality, and with you as well? Are there any supply chain issues or challenges that you're running into that you feel like the industry maybe needs to address, or that you're trying to address as your own business? I'll start with you first.
Right. So during my market research, that was in 2023, realizing that farmers are, so we have a cluster of smallholder farmers. I mean, about 80% of the agricultural produce from Ghana are from smallholder farmers. Yeah. And smallholder farmers usually have between 1 to 5 acres of land to farm. Okay. And what happens is that these farmers, most often than not, are not able to coordinate among themselves. Yeah. And so what happens is if farmer A is in Navrongo and has a maize crop, farmer B and maybe another, what was the other town in the north? Bolgatanga cannot, can also has perhaps maize. So these two farmers cannot, they just cannot collaborate. And for that matter, what happens is that their crops begin to perish. Got it. So we are trying to solve that problem because we're trying to aggregate these farmers. So farmer A in Navrongo and farmer B in Bolgatanga comes to Merdeo. We get them the produce. We get them access to market and then take their produce to sell to these restaurants who are ready to buy from them. So that's one issue I realized. Another thing is the roads. I don't think for that the private sectors would have to do that. The government really needs to come in because majority of our roads are so bad.
True.
What happens is that the crops you go and buy, because the roads are so bad, it comes to the warehouse and about 20% of them is just gone bad because of just the hikes and the jumping here and there. The driver just doesn't know how to even maneuver his way around.
True.
So I think these are some bottlenecks that are happening in the agricultural industry. If farmers are also able to collaborate successfully, then things will be much better in the agricultural industry. If governments also look at the roads network, people can be able to transport produce to and fro with much ease.
Ease and quicker as well.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Need design for your startup? Switch to workspaceglobal.com, the internet's simplest design service. Skip the agency and freelancer headaches. Our platform connects you instantly to vetted creatives to get your logos, websites, and marketing materials fast, all managed for you by our team, software, and AI, so you can focus on what you care about most, growing your business. Try us for free, workspaceglobal.com.
So, Gideon, you just heard from Nana Kofi in terms of the challenges that, from his perspective, that he's facing in terms of supply chain and challenges in the industry. How about you for the Honey Palace? What supply chain challenges are you facing?
The Honey Palace, I think the challenges are plenty. They're very plenty. I don't know where to begin from, whether from the side of the government or from the side of the agricultural space.
Let's leave the government because of the elections. We don't trouble.
The reason I'm saying that the government is because they actually have not looked at the honey space, the apiculture space. So there's not that sort of regulation. That's where I'm coming from. In a way, example, for instance, with regards to tax, GRA, they would have to just assume a certain sector taxes on us, but they don't really have more like a streamlined taxes for those of us playing in the honey space or agriculture. So when it comes to the regulatory framework, it's kind of quite complex.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the area of tax as well. So that's why I was talking about the government. And so aside the government, in terms of supply chain challenges, they are real. For instance, dealing with farmers it's not common. It's not easy. Example, because of the, should I say, unquote, I'm sorry, but to say literacy, it could be a problem. And most of the times we realize because a simple issue you're talking about and the understanding you need to speak almost like 5-10 minutes on something that is so easy, just something so easy. And again, to compliance, with them complying because we have standards, we have procedures in our productions. So like simple comply, for instance, it's time for harvest. You're supposed to let us know. We come to you and then we go do the harvest, right? Some of them you would either have them not like informing you and they will try to go behind you to harvest and sell to someone else. Meanwhile, you've invested in money of procuring beehives. And beehives are very expensive as we speak right now. So, like,
what kind of prices are we talking?
So some of them would finish saying that, okay, is the money that you use and bought the beehive, we'll give to you. Some too, for instance, we have an agreement of how much you buy in it, and for the time for the harvest to come, and they will be talking about some different kind of stories. So at the end of the day, it kind of brings some kind of challenge to us in our pricing, right? But still, I think it's quite a good thing. And now that we're looking at with expansion that we're currently doing right now, is going to ensure that we are having a very strong pool of even more farmers to source from. So that's not going to be a problem to us again. Again, in the honey space, the agriculture space, I would say in Ghana, we are really fragmented. We are not coordinated, right? There's even a trying of formation of Ghana Beekeepers Association is as good as dead. It's not really something that's really doing anything. It's not. I would say that other sectors are really doing much well. They are really doing much well, and they're trying, and they are even representing their industry, their colleagues, and they are even pushing them for great opportunities. But not, for instance, we went to GEPA, if I could speak, Ghana Export Promotion Authorities, GEPA, and they don't really know how to place us, the Honey Palace, and they're like, they don't really have people like, so for instance, when we come in the honey palace, then they would have to see how to seek for market for us. As in, it's really surprising, but that's the thing. So we are more like pioneers in the honey space. That's how I look at us, the honey palace. And so we try to do a lot of things. We try to get a lot of things in place, right? So that's one side of it. Another side of it has to do with honey. Like another major challenge is, should I say, customer like perception. So when you speak about honey, so we are tackling the issue of the education. Right, people don't know much about honey, so they have this mind. And honestly, I sympathize with them, because if I didn't also know much about honey, and then I hear that they say people mix stuff with honey and all of that, I would also be very scared. Right, so we have another work which we're not supposed to, but it's a work of education. So we are working on partnering with some of the national television stations to begin to educate the public on even how to verify what a good honey is, or what a good honey is not. Right. So those are some of the things that we are doing.
That's incredible. That's so insightful. Thank you for sharing, Gideon. I think the audience is really gonna, learn a lot from that. And just a really quick summary, like an average day for you, well, what does that look like? Because I mean, there's so many moving parts to your business.
Right. So I start my day at 6:30. Normally sleep somewhere 4:30, 5 o'clock from the previous day in the morning. And by 6, I start at 6:30 because I need to be in the office by then, in a way. And most of the times it's about meetings with either our team, our sales team, or our production team, meeting with them. Because for me, honestly, should I say, training is very important, and I don't assume that they know. And because they're working with us, I don't assume that, okay, fine, they are now used to it. So constant training is what I give to them. Aside them also is our campus ambassadors, training them. And again, aside those ones as well, then also is meetings with partners. I'm also directly active in the market, like as on the field on daily basis, like responding to customer issues. And my contacts are with all our customers. My personal contacts is with all our customers. In fact, the nearest one is Airport View Hotel. They're just here. They called me in the morning and they were talking. Okay, so I had to attend to them. Right. In fact, so I was just telling him, like, the reason I even got him here late, because I had to attend to him and also stop by at the mall to attend to Vida Cafe.
Beautiful. They were your clients as well, yeah? Beautiful.
And so, those are some of the things, that I do, on daily basis. And also to deal with our trainers, our bee farmers. Currently, we are training 1,000 beekeepers, in the north right now.
Wow.
There are actually 5,000 people. But then we are starting with 1,000 in a way. And with 1,000, we are discussing with GIZ, right? They are coming in to help us with beehives, right? So we are currently discussing 1,000 beehives with them, whilst we are doing the training. So the training is ongoing right now, so to speak, in the north, but it's reading the Bronco to be specific. Okay, So just actually how my day. I don't know if I'm able to put it well, but that's how my day is.
It's incredible. Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like a boring day at all. It's maybe quite a packed day, but not a boring day.
Not boring.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Gideon. And how about you, Gideon? Nana Kofi, quickly.
Well, mine is more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Because I realize with Gideon, his is more structured because it's a larger organization. So with Merdeo, I start my day at 7. I sleep at 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. because usually during the night, after I'm done reading, I have to check on my messages again before I sleep. So when I sleep at 12, I usually wake up 6:30. I meditate. For the gym, I started working out. I stopped. I become lazy in that regard. So, anyone who is watching, if you feel like you can motivate me to work out, I'd be glad to be your gym buddy. But right after that, I zoom into meetings. So I usually call my team members. We have meetings and then we try and discuss what we are trying to achieve in the day.
Okay.
Thereafter, I go to the farms So I have my driver pick me up. We go to the farms to try and also talk to the farmers, get the produce, and then we bring it to the warehouse.
Okay.
If we have to supply the same day, it means I would have to supply to the restaurants on the same day.
Okay.
Nonetheless, most of the times it is scheduled. So we go, some days we have to go to the farms, we bring the produce to the warehouse.
Yeah.
The next 2 or 3 days, we are now dispatching to the restaurant. If I'm not doing that, then I'm actually pitching to investors. I usually try and raise grants,
That's nice.
but now from where things are going, we'll need pre-seed. So we are trying to structure the organization in a way that we are ready for pre-seed investment.
That's brilliant.
Currently, we are in talks with Founder Factory Africa. Shout outs to to Dolapo and Eunice, right? Because they are the ones who are in talks with me currently to see how best they can invest in our company.
Brilliant. That's very insightful, Nana. Thanks for sharing, Nana Kofi.
Sure.
In terms of you, really quickly, Gideon, in terms of like your day, he talked about supplying to like vendors, right? Do you guys manage the distribution to your vendors as well, or do they kind of manage from you?
Right. So we manage the distribution.
Okay.
But then we have a partnered like trucks that we use to distribute, and also those who order in minimum slices, smaller quantities.
Okay.
As for this month, we actually have free delivery that we've launched out for this month.
Oh wow, okay.
And so we have our bikes people that will do the delivery and the dispatch to them.
Nice.
Right.
Bikes people. So like do you partner up on some of the food platforms like Bolt Food, Global?
Yes, no, but we have 2 bikes.
Okay.
So we have
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
they use that for delivery.
Is that within Accra or outside Accra?
No, within Accra.
Within Accra, yeah.
But outside of Accra is 50% discount.
50% discount.
50% discount for outside of Accra.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Because you want to make it more accessible to those outside Accra.
Right.
Because and of course people in Accra, they can afford a lot more than people outside.
That's correct.
That's a beautiful initiative. So just tell us where you think agriculture is going. You know, like would you say the future is bright, or would you say we have a long way to go in terms of Ghana, or you think the future is gonna be good for us?
Right. Thank you. So I think that the future is definitely very bright. And would agree with the fact that we also have a long way to go. That's what I said. And because number one, there's that sort of a very good penetration of technology.
Yeah.
Right? And almost every area, you realize that different people are coming up with different kind of technological products, in different space, area of coconut, almost everywhere, like the other sort of technology that's coming in. And I think though the acceptance is not that very rapid as we speak, but then I think it's very encouraging. So definitely we're actually going to something somewhere very great. That's what I can say.
Brilliant.
That, yeah.
Okay, cool. What about you, Nana Kofi? What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't want to be a prophet of doom. However, I feel like, just like Gideon is saying, there's a lot of stuff going on. For me, in terms of the negatives, right, there is a vast development of infrastructure. So we are clearing part of lands that should be used for farming. Day in, day out, farmers are losing their land to real estate. And that means that if real estate is coming in, how are we going to eat the next 50, 100 years to come? Now, you'd also realize the advent of climate change happening. Ghana is experiencing one of the highest recorded heat temperatures this year, and it's unfortunate. They are saying there's worse years coming. 2025 is going to have one of the hottest years ever in a century. So clearly, that's why I say I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but you realize that agricultural industry is really declining, and if people don't step up, what happen is that we would have a series of droughts and series of famine coming in. But there's still some good news. With the good news, just like Gideon said, technology is coming in the rise. People are getting access to knowledge. People can farm about maybe something that a crop of tomato, like tomatoes could have been grown on 1 acre, someone can do it on just a small piece of land, what we call the vertical farming. So clearly there is still some way, somehow good news for people. And this is one thing I tell entrepreneurs, that when you realize that the challenges are enormous, that's when you should jump in. So if you see that agriculture is going to be a trend, in by 2030, a lot of people would Africans would even double their population, then you should jump on right now, hop in and see where you fit in the agricultural supply chain to see how you can best solve the problems.
Okay. And that's a great segue in terms of tips to people that want to get to agriculture. How would you say that's the tip you would recommend? Like, if you can jump in now, jump in now.
Yeah, if you can jump in now, because just like I explained, there are a series of problems lurking in the agricultural industry. And so it means it signifies that we need more people now, more entrepreneurs to come on board to see how best we can solve these problems.
Yeah.
Talk of climate change, talk of supply chains, talk of access to quality honey and quality fresh produce, right? So we need more of these young innovators out there to also come on board, because the future is bright.
Brilliant. Okay. And Gideon, one tip to an entrepreneur or someone that's aspiring entrepreneur wants to get into agriculture.
It's hard. That's and it's important that you accept the fact that it's hard. People go into entrepreneurship, whether, should I say, like looking at all these glitters. For instance, this morning, one of my journalist friends reached out to me and he was telling me about one company that I always admire. And he was telling me about what's actually going in to extent that they are having extreme liquidity issues, debt challenges and stuff. And so I was like, wow. Then he said, not all those glitters are gold. so to speak. I think a lot of people, when I'm speaking with my colleague, like business guys, people who are interested in business, like they are actually carried away by the glamour side of the whole thing, looking at entrepreneurs like maybe driving the best cars, living in the best houses and stuff. So they feel like, okay, that's just how it's going to be. But they don't know that there's a mad side. So I would advise that anyone going into entrepreneurship, anyone considering that, just know that it's hard. That's the truth. And it's about just, accepting that it's hard, that you cannot make the best out of it. Because when you go in with a soft mind, thinking that, oh no, it's not really supposed to be that, no, you will be disappointed, right? So it's a hard work. It's so tough, but it's also one of the most rewarding. And I will never trade my entrepreneurship venture for anything. So yeah, that's what I can say.
Brilliant. And Kofi, thank you for coming on the show. Gideon,
thank you
for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Really quickly, 2024, what's in store?
So the Honey Palace, we've rolled out, hoping to train 5,000 beekeepers into beekeeping. We've already started with the first set of 5,000 people in Nabrongo, that's in the Upper East region, that we've started. And also the next cohort are going to start from Drobo in Boahafu region. And that's actually where we do our cashew honey. That's what we produce from. That kind of thing. And again, to this year of 2024, we've actually just opened our small shop in Lagos, Nigeria. That's for the Honey Palace extension. And we are looking at like actually expanding it more in Lagos space. And again, across the Northern Territory, we are looking at launching our showroom, a first showroom in Tamale to be specific. That's another thing. And 2024, we are going fully into exports ourselves.
Wow.
Now, we were actually doing the exports through a third party, right? So far, but when the diasporans came, a lot of them came to our production house, and a lot of them took interest for what we're doing. So that's another thing that we are going to look at, fully export ourselves, so getting the certification, the EcoCert trade fair, then GAP, certification that would allow us to be able to export to the US, the UK, and the Europe.
Exciting.
That's the thing. So that's what I can say about us. And into 2025, then starting with the establishment of a honey plant.
Hey, let's leave it there. Madam for 2025.
So that's it for us.
Wow. I mean, I think the future is really bright for you guys. Okay. And where can everyone find the Honey Palace and grab hold of the honey? So you mentioned some of the locations,
Right.
websites, social media.
Good. So the Honey Palace, our website is thehoneypalaceafrica.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, The Honey Palace. You can find us on IG, Facebook, The Honey Palace, Twitter, The Honey Palace. Yes. So we're everywhere. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks. And then what about you, 2024?
2024 looks promising.
Mhm.
For us, just like I said, we've launched our platform. So in 2024, we envisage that at least it should be across all 16 regions in Ghana. In 2024 too, we are looking at working with promising accelerator and venture investors. Just like I mentioned, Founders Factory Africa is on top of the list. We're also looking forward to work with some investors from Switzerland. They are also very interested in what we're doing. So this year, we envisage that we should have at least we should have launched our platform into the other 15 regions, because currently it's just Accra we are working in. So 15 regions using it. We should also have installed our wind turbine so that we can be able to increase the shelf life of our produce in our warehouse to as much as 30 days. And we should also have revamped our logistics. Currently, we're just using 2 vans. So we want to maybe partner with logistic partners. So anyone listening to this podcast, you can reach out to us. So we see how best we can collaborate so we can be able to more or less scale our procurement to other regions and restaurants across Ghana.
Exciting. Beautiful. Well, gentlemen,
you can reach out to us on LinkedIn, Merdeo Foods, Merdeo, Foods, Foods, and also on Facebook and Instagram.
Excellent. Well, we'll have all of the links, key references, wisdom, keys in the show notes. You guys can head over to thesoundofacra.com/agritech. That's thesoundofacra.com/agritech for today's show notes. That's AGRITECH. Okay. We'll leave links to their social medias and the websites in the description below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast platforms. Gentlemen, this has been a very insightful conversation. Thank you for sharing insights in terms of what's happening in the supply chain, what's happening in agriculture, what's happening in the food hospitality industry from your perspective, and where you think the future is going, and some very compelling stories in terms of how you started and how it's going and where you guys are heading to. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in the coming years. But yeah, there you have it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that. I hope you learned something from that. This is a very interesting conversation, more of a panel type interview today. If you guys want to see more conversation like this, let us know. Drop us an email. Let us know on our social media, or let us know in the comments below. If you guys want to see me do some more content of these 2 guys in the future, in whatever format that may be, let us know. We want to hear from you. There you have it, guys. Thank you so much. Take care.